Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to receive notifications of my future video postings, please subscribe. As I have mentioned in other videos that stir frying is an important component of my fast cooking system. Stir frying is a process both simple and complicated at the same time. With stir fry, all you need is a heating source, a wok, and a wok spatula, and that will do all the cooking that you need. Therefore, without question, the wok is a very important aspect of my cooking system. Therefore, choosing the right kind of wok is far more important in comparison, say, for example, choosing a frying pan. For many years, stainless steel wok was not as popular as a carbon steel wok or a cast iron wok. And one of the reasons that stainless steel wok is not as popular because there is a common perception that it is not possible to season the stainless steel wok in the same way as you would with carbon steel or cast iron wok. I basically have the same perception, and not until I have developed the spot seasoning method and I try on the stainless steel wok and I discovered that it works as well in stainless steel wok as in cast iron or carbon steel woks. Because most of other seasoning methods that is available turn out to be quite complicated. The complexity of these seasoning methods actually for a long time put me away from getting woks that with natural surfaces. The instruction come with my first carbon steel wok actually require me to remove the wooden handles from the wok and then cover it with oil and bake it in the oven for up to 30 minutes. This is when I try to look for an alternative method, and through try and error, I come across this method, which now I call it the spot seasoning method. The method, nothing is special about it. In this video, I would like to tell you a story of how difficult it is for me to convince other people that my spot seasoning method actually works for stainless steel woks. I have a good friend, and I will call him Gary for the purpose of this video. Gary works as a corporate lawyer for a large insurance company, but he is an excellent cook. In fact, he built a professional-grade kitchen in his house. He was talking to one of the guests. She is the cousin of the host, and she came from New Orleans. She was talking to Gary about she was planning to buy a stainless steel wok. She told Gary that she would like to have a stainless steel wok in comparison to, say, a carbon steel or cast iron wok. She is concerned that since it was not advised to clean those woks with soap, and she said because where she lives of the high humidity, there's a lot of insects. And the oily surface of these woks will attract the insects, and she does not like those insects to crawling over her cookware. She likes stainless steel cookware because she knows she can clean them really well and keep them shiny and pristine. I remember Gary advised her not to purchase a stainless steel wok because stainless steel wok could not be seasoned as easily in comparison to cast iron or carbon steel woks. Consequently, when she using those woks, she would have a lot of problem with food sticking to them. At that time, I have been working on my spot seasoning method, and I have applied it to stainless steel wok, and it worked out very well. I was going to join their conversation and perhaps explain to them of my experience with stainless steel woks. The dinner was ready by that time, so I really do not have a chance to carry the conversation any further. A couple of weeks later, I happened to run into Gary again, and I remember the conversation that he has with that lady. And I told Gary, I said, I have a method which I call the spot seasoning method that will effectively season a stainless steel wok. I explained to him how my method works. Basically, you just allow the oil to smoke for about 15 seconds before you start to cook, and this is the time when the wok is being seasoned. Gary actually looked at me with disbelief on his face, and he basically said, well, I have to see it in order to believe it. So I told Gary, I said, sure, why don't you come over to our house and then we can do it together, and so you can see how it works. Gary then told me that we will do a test, and if the test fail, I will owe him a dinner If my smart seasoning process turned out to be work as good as I have claimed, then Gary will cook me a dinner. So Gary came over a couple of weeks later, and we start the process as I'm going to show you in this video. For this demonstration, I'm going to use my 14-inch Cuisinart stainless steel wok. So Gary said the first thing we're going to do, we're going to clean the wok as well as possible to strip off whatever the oil that might still remain on the surface of the wok. Gary told me that he would do it himself because then he know he would have done it right. So Gary said he's going to do it in a two-step process. The first step, he is going to boil water in the wok with vinegar. Both boiling and vinegar, when it combined together, will dissolve whatever oil that might remain on the surface of the wok. The next step is that he is going to clean it with soap really well. So the next thing we decide going to do is that we're going to fry an egg in it to see whether the egg will stick to the surface of the wok. In theory, now the wok has no seasoning left on its surface, then the egg should stick right to the surface of the wok when you fry the egg. As expected, the egg stick to the surface of the wok and make a mess as well. So this is a proof of concept that the cleaning and boiling the wok with water and vinegar actually work. They do remove whatever the seasoning that might still have remained on the surface of the wok. So Gary next cleaned the wok again, and then now we're going to try my seasoning method. At this point, for those of you who are not familiar with how seasoning a wok actually works, I will give you a brief explanation. From the chemical standpoint, seasoning is basically for the oil to form a polymer-like material to protect the surface of the wok from coming into contact with food ingredients. In many ways, this protective layer is similar to non-stick coating. The reason that we can season the wok with cooking oil is because cooking oil at certain temperature is responsible for forming this protective layer. Now, cooking oil, when you heat it to certain temperature, it will start to smoke, and this is known as the smoking point. At this temperature, the cooking oil actually start to break down, and also at the same time, the cooking oil will form this protective layer. So I instruct Gary to follow my method, which is very simple. You heat up the wok for about maybe 30 to 40 seconds, and then one adds about 2 tablespoons of canola oil, just enough to cover the surface of the wok. And then when we heat up the oil, it takes about maybe 60 to 90 seconds, depending on the type of wok and also the stove. And the oil will start to smoke. As soon as the oil smoke, I instruct Gary to turn the heat to low. This is to prevent the oil from smoking too much. You then let the oil to smoke for about 15 seconds or more, depending how much you want to season the wok. It is during this period the oil form the polymer and season the wok. Normally I season the wok for about 15 seconds, but since this wok has been thoroughly cleaned, I'm going to let it go a little bit longer for about 20 seconds. And next we fry an egg, and the result was very clear that the egg did not stick to the surface of the wok at all. I can tell from Gary's facial expression, he was very surprised. In fact, he did not expect this at all. I told Gary that I have tried it in other natural surfaces as well, this including cast iron, carbon steel, and light cast iron woks. Gary then told me that he owed me a dinner, and I can set the menu of what I would like him to cook. Gary told me that I need to have my student try this method because ultimately seeing is believing. So in my cooking classes, this is always the first thing we would do. We would have the students season the wok and then fry an egg to show them that how effective this method works. I strongly encourage you to give this a try. Take whatever woks that you might have, clean it really well, and then using this seasoning method to see how it brings back the seasoning effectively with such a simple approach. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like icon below. This will help me to reach a broader audience. I'm posting video regularly, usually one every day. If you would like to receive notifications of my future video postings, please subscribe. See you next time.